Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the SteelDive SD1953 homage to a Rolex Submariner Smurf. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Pagani Design PD1662 left-handed watch, and I'm wearing it on my right hand, even though I'm right-handed, because I just thought it'd be more fun that way. Yes, I know you don't have to wear a left-handed watch on your right hand if you don't want to, but this is fun with watches, not make sense with watches. And Greg was wearing my Pagani Design PD1733 homage to a Rolex Milgauss. Grogu said Han Solo and Princess Leia were helping out in the Jedi Academy kitchen. Han Solo peeled some potatoes and asked Leia what he should do with the skins. She said, "Into the garbage chute, flyboy." Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this nice plastic case that most SteelDives come in. Addie's dive come in these cases too. San Martin's used to come in these cases, and then they started making these even fancier cases for San Martin's. But it comes with this little hang tag, warranty card, instructions, and it came in this little Ziploc bag. And I have 3 links left over from sizing it. It's a pretty nice case. They always do a really good job over at SteelDive. The SteelDive SD1953 is named thus because 1953 was the birth of the Submariner, and this is indeed a Submariner homage. But unlike the Invicta 1953, this looks like a more modern sub and not the sub of 1953, which is too bad. I'm not saying that they shouldn't make this particular watch. It is great. I just wish they would offer a retro version also with the pencil hands, aluminum insert bezel, without the Ascension phase, and maybe some faux patina. But if you do want a modern looking sub homage and don't want to spend more than $100, then this SteelDive is a great choice. The main giveaway, other than the SteelDive logo and the fact that a blue sub isn't made of white gold, is the clasp, which is a simple press clasp. There are 3 colorways with a black and green also available. You can also get a rubber strap or silicone waffle strap, but they aren't any cheaper than the steel bracelet. So please get this on the bracelet. It just doesn't make sense not to. The watch is 40.5 millimeters at the bezel, which slightly overhangs the case just a little bit. 47.4 millimeters lug to lug, 52.1 if you count the protruding end links. 13 millimeters thick. The ad says 13.5, but they must be counting the Cyclops, and I never do. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 160 grams on the supplied bracelet with 3 links removed. So it's a fairly heavy watch. The bezel is 120 click unidirectional with a ceramic insert. Instead of a loom pip, it has this loom triangle. Also, the rest of the bezel is loomed, which is a SteelDive standard. The clicks are solid with no back play, but the action is very stiff. About the same as that Corsair GMT I just reviewed. Wish it was just a little bit lighter. But there's no back play or anything like that. So it's good action. It's just stiff. The blue dial has a sunburst effect. As you can see, it's a pretty good sunburst effect because it's a blue sunburst, not a light sunburst. It has the SteelDive name and logo on top, and then it says automatic and 300 meters on the bottom, and that's the way I like it. No need to say water resistant when you give the depth rating. It has applied luminousness, and they're sub-style with the triangle at the 12, batons at the 6 and the 9, and dots everywhere else. The hands are also sub-style with the pencil minute hand and the Mercedes hour hand and the lollipop second hand. Then you have a date at the 3 with a Cyclops that does a pretty good job of magnifying. That's a decent magnification there. The sign crown is a screw down. It's got significant crown guards also. It pops nicely when unscrewed. And then it screws in nicely too when you screw it back in. Not a lot of thread feel. One thing I noticed though is when you go to set it, sometimes it takes a pretty good effort to pull out the crown. Sometimes it's hard to get it past that date position. But once you set it, I mean, there's no big deal. There's no jumping minute hand or anything like that. But just sometimes it takes a good tug. Has a flat sapphire crystal, sticks up just barely above the bezel. I don't know if it has AR coating or not, but it does a pretty good job of showing the dial. Then it has a solid steel case with polished sides and brushed tops and bottoms, and also the crown guards are all polished. Has a screw down case back, has the SteelDive logo, then it says water resistant 300 meters, and then it actually specifies NH35, which is a good thing because I checked underneath and it indeed does have an NH35. The NH35 is the go-to movement for automatic watches in this price range. It can get a little boring because you see it so often, but it is such a good movement for the price. It's a 3 Hz 24 jewel that hand winds, hacks, and has a bidirectional rotor. And it's usually pretty accurate right off the shelf. So let's take a look at it on the time grapher. Here it is on the time grapher. As you can see, it's running about 7 to 8 seconds slow. It's too bad it's running slow because usually if you have a hacking movement, you want it to run fast because it's easier to make a fast movement catch up than because a slow movement, you always have to reset the hands. But 7 to 8 seconds slow is pretty good. Otherwise, it looks like we're 8 to 9, but there's quite a bit of beat error on this one. So that's why you can see 2 lines on the screen and not just one. The bracelet is solid steel oyster style with solid end links. And then it has brushed center links and not polished center links. I prefer that. And it has push pin adjusters and not screw pin. I'm perfectly happy with push pin adjusters. They're easier than screw pins. You don't have to get out a tiny little screwdriver. And I've never had an issue with them coming out. And I have had issues with screws coming loose before. I even lost a screw in the carpet once, and my wife found it amazing enough weeks later for a testing I had once. Then the biggest tell of all that this is not a real sub is the clasp. It's just your basic press clasp. You see these on a million watches in this price range. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it does the job and it's easy to use. And I like the fact that it has whole micro adjust and not the stupid micro adjust of a Rolex style clasp, which you have to get a tool there. So I'm perfectly happy with this type of clasp on this watch. I just wish it had 4 holes of micro adjust and not 3. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice, wears nice. This is a 40mm watch, so it's obviously not too big for my wrist. I think most people can pull off a 40 no matter how small your wrist is. And then I had to remove 3 links to fit this on my wrist, so this will fit, definitely fit really big wrist if you have a big wrist. But yeah, it looks nice. I like this watch. I'm going to be sad when I sell it. Here we are on the Loom Room. SteelDives are well known for their impressive loom, and this one sure delivers. I normally speed up time by a factor of 32, but today I'm doing 64. As I speed up the time, all I can say is wow. This sub $100 dive watch is as good as my Seiko Safari and almost as good as my Tag Heuer, and would be if the minute hand had the oomph of the bezel triangle. But it's very impressive indeed. This is really good loom. What do I like about this watch? Well, it's got first-rate loom, and it has a fully loomed bezel. It has awesome appearance. It's just a really pretty looking watch. It's reasonably priced, well built. There's a lot of good things to say about it. What are my gripes and groans? Stiff bezel action. The crown gets a little bit difficult to pull out when you're setting it. And I wish it had 4 holes of micro adjust and not 3 for that perfect fit. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, of course. My gripes and groans are so minor that I almost didn't include this section. This watch has stunning look, solid build, and has just been a complete joy reviewing. I really enjoy this watch, and I wish I could keep it, but I can't afford to, so I will have to sell this so I can buy more watches to review. Well, thank you for watching my review of the SteelDive SD1953, and I will be back with another review. More than likely that Pagani design left-handed watch I'm wearing. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.